A lot of air moons are like that. I think all the air moons are like that. Instead of feeling our feelings, we're thinking about how to express said feeling. And if we were to tell people we're feeling this feeling, would we have a good, solid explanation for why we're feeling this feeling? It almost feels like we're in a court of law and we have to make our case as to why it's appropriate for us to feel this feeling. Even though it's nobody else's business but yours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you're the one that needs to feel this feeling so you can release it. Friday, you guys. Welcome to Yap Therapy and happy Pisces season. Arguably one of my favorite seasons of the year as a water sign. Obviously, it's one of my favorite seasons of the year, especially after this Aquarius season that was just so strange. I don't know. I feel like the first half of the year was first half. What am I talking about? It's literally been like a month and like a half. What am I talking about? The first month or two of the year has been very strange, especially I feel like in America. So here's to a better next few months, right? That is the energy I want to lead with. And it's Pisces season, so I just feel like we're going to be releasing a lot of things, which is very much necessary. I feel like no releasing is done. I feel like, yes, that's what it is. You know what it is? Every time the sun is in a water sign, that is when we're releasing. Like, would you guys agree with me? I feel like, because I was thinking about, okay, we're not releasing during Aquarius season. We weren't releasing during Capricorn season. We definitely weren't releasing during Sagittarius season. And I was like, yep, Scorpio season, obviously we were releasing because, you know, Scorpio is ruled by the 8th house of like transformation and death and rebirth. So of course we're releasing. And then I thought about Cancer, and Cancer is all about, you know, it's ruled by the moon. So you're definitely releasing your emotions when, you know, the sun or the moon or whatever planet is in Cancer. So I feel like whenever it is the season of a water sign, that is when we are releasing. And as a water dominant girl, I feel like I enjoy that because life be lifing, you know what I mean. Life be lifing, and no matter how hard you try, things just come up. Like sometimes, do you guys just sit there and you're like, you could be doing even just like your chores around the house or whatever. You're like, it never ends. Like, do you guys ever have that feeling of like, there's never going to be a time where I have to like dust or vacuum for the last time? Well, you know, not to get dark, but there will be a last time, you know, before we. But when you're thinking about life and you're thinking about like the mundane tasks, like sometimes I really get in my head and I'm like, it just never ends. It just never ends. Yeah, I'm cleaning, but I'm going to have to clean again in 2 weeks and again in 2 weeks. Like sometimes that annoys me, but I'm trying to remind myself to be grateful, right? Because I don't want to get all corny and sappy, but like it really is a gift. The present is called the present because it's a gift. It really is a gift to be alive and to, you know, be on this planet. And there are so many luxuries that I have that a lot of people don't. You know, like it's good to just remind yourself of everything that you do have and to feel very much grateful for it. And being alive, right? Like, yes, there are annoying things like taxes and fucking vacuuming and laundry. But there's also the ability to taste delicious food. There's the ability to experience pleasure, to see this beautiful planet. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that are great about being alive. So I try to remind myself, like, when I get fed up with doing all the mundane things of like, listen, you could die any day. So just make the best of it. Make the best of it is what I try and remind myself. But I don't even know where I got with that. That's truly a sidebar. Like, I feel like, yeah, as a Gemini moon, there's going to be side quests like every other conversation. There will be a side quest. So bear with me here. And if you're new here, you're probably like, yeah, what does that mean? It means that I will be talking about something and there will be like side conversations and sidebars, a story within a story. But we'll always come back. We'll always come back to the main story. The main story being that, you know, when it is a water sign season, so Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, I feel like it is a time of release for the collective. And as a water sign, It's necessary and we love it because we're used to it. Like that is the energy that Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces lead with. We feel a lot of feelings, but that also means that we're releasing a lot of things. Otherwise, we would be drowning, us water signs. And if you're going through it as a water sign, it's probably because you're not releasing it, even though your entire being is begging you to create, to release, to let go of this feeling. Otherwise, it will drown you. Quite literally, you are a water sign, right? So you need to transmute it. You need to release it in some way. But at our highest potential, we're really good at doing that. We identify what feeling it is. We allow ourselves to feel it. And then we, create something, or we talk about it, or we journal. Like we just release it, so we can move on. And I think for some of the other elements in the zodiac, obviously, I know, because I have friends that are other elements. They talk about how, intense water sign seasons can be for them, and how they are not always excited for water sign seasons because they know they're going to be in their feelings. They know that shit's going to be heavy. So if you are one of those people that is not always excited to be in a water sign season, I encourage you to create. I encourage you to release. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're going to be in your feelings. Just freaking feel it. Like, actually feel it. And this is something that even I, as a Gemini moon, even though I'm a Scorpio stellium, my Gemini moon, that energy comes through heavy. It's very, very strong. And when I first was learning about like your entire chart in astrology, and I found out I had a Gemini moon, I was like, yeah, whatever, like your moon sign, that doesn't matter. And then the more I learned about astrology, and the more I learned how much our personal planets matter, right? So I was like, okay, let me tap into this Gemini moon and see what the hell that means. And, the more I learned about, Gemini moons and how we rationalize our feelings and how we mask it with humor, and, we just think about our feelings in a way that is not productive, We just sit there, and instead of feeling the feeling, we're trying to think of why I feel this feeling. Is it okay for me to feel this feeling? And is it justifiable for me to feel this feeling? I think a lot of air moons are like that. I think all the air moons are like that. Instead of feeling our feelings, we're thinking about how to express said feeling. And if we were to tell people we're feeling this feeling, would we have a good, solid explanation for why we're feeling this feeling? It almost feels like we're in a court of law, and we have to make our case as to why it's appropriate for us to feel this feeling, even though it's nobody else's business but yours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you're the one that needs to feel this feeling so you can release it, But we feel shame for it sometimes, I think, as air moons, because we do want to, have fun, and we do want to laugh, and we do want to conversate. And sometimes feelings can, take away from the opportunity to have fun, right? Because you're in your feelings. And I think because, thank God, I have a lot of Scorpio placements and my Pisces Saturn, it helps me realize like the importance of expressing and releasing these heavy feelings. Otherwise, you're carrying it with you for no reason, really. You know what I mean? You're literally dragging these intense feelings with you everywhere you go, and you're low-key putting a damper on everything. You are the wet blanket, You don't want to be that person all the time. You really don't. So if you are someone who struggles with rationalizing your feelings, I think a water sign season is a great time for you to just feel your feelings. Like, sit there and be like, I feel so angry. And don't think about why you feel angry. Like, yes, you know what made you angry, but don't think about like, do I deserve to be angry? You know what I mean? Like, if you're angry, you're angry. I think it's very hard for a feeling to come to you and for you to try and block it. Like, if the feeling is there, might as well feel it because it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So you even thinking about whether you should feel it and whether it makes sense to feel it, it doesn't take away from the feeling and the fact that you're feeling it. You know what I mean? Like, it's still there, but you're just creating this block. Because think about it like this. It's already been invited into your home, which is your body, But instead of releasing it and letting it go and saying goodbye to it at the end of the night, when you overanalyze your feelings, you're kind of holding that feeling hostage in your body and you're not letting it go. You know what I mean? And now that feeling is probably going to take over your home. It's going to make it feel like there's too many chefs in the kitchen. Like, why are there so many feelings here? You know, it's like Inside Out. When all the feelings want to take control, like that's what it is. So just allow your feelings to come through and then let them go. Like, you got this. It's okay. It's okay. And don't be ashamed of your feelings. And also, if feelings scare you, and they scare you because you have a hard time explaining how you feel to other people, you know, I'm not saying be closed off and be emotionally unavailable. That's not what I'm saying. But if you need a couple of days or a week to figure out what you're feeling and to put it into words, take that time. You know what I mean? But don't ignore it, you know? And don't expect people to just read your vibe. Like, it is up to you to ultimately express to people what you're feeling. Otherwise, it's going to eat away at you and your soul and your heart, you know, and your mind. But I do think that, you know, it's okay to take some time to sit there with your feelings and really figure out what it is that you're feeling and how you want to express said feeling to people that should know about it, you know? So I know you guys are aware, if you're not, you're about to be, about how monumental this year is. And if you follow any astrologers, I've said it on here before too, that 2025 is such a big year astrologically because damn near all the planets are moving into a new sign. And that, you know, shows that there is going to be a big shift, you know, a huge shift for the collective and individually too, obviously, depending on what your chart looks like. But just even the fact that all of these planets are going to be moving into new signs, like that shows that there's new energy approaching on a grand scale because it's multiple planets and it's happening during the same year. So I think that is crazy and huge. So Pluto moved into Aquarius basically in like November, right? And then Neptune is going to be moving into Aries. Uranus is moving into Gemini. Saturn is moving into Aries. The nodes are shifting to the Pisces and Virgo axes, and then Jupiter is moving into Cancer. And I saw this post on Instagram by AstroBiz Oracle, and they said that the last time just 3 outermost planets changed signs together was in 1737 during the Great Awakening, a period of major spiritual and social shifts. That is crazy. Like, that is actually insane. I don't know about you guys, but I feel that energy. I think it's even beyond American politics because, yeah, America is like a shit show right now in terms of what's happening in our government, obviously. But even on a global scale, a lot of countries are dealing with the same shit, right? And I think it's interesting because I think people's eyes are really opening up to what we've been dealt, you know, and how long we've been okay with a system that is completely unfair to most of us, right? And I say this all the time. It makes their job, and I mean the 1%'s job, easier when they are separating us and making us fight amongst each other, because then we don't see the common enemy, which is them, right? And they love it, you know? It's probably to them, it's like the Hunger Games. They're sitting back and they're watching us fight, you know what I mean? And they're sitting there all pretty, eating their good food and betting on people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's low key, high key what it is. Even just Kendrick's, you know, Super Bowl halftime performance when he said the revolution will not be televised, you know? And I know he didn't create that, you know, saying, but him saying that was so powerful because it's not going to be. I actually just saw a stat that said all 50 states in America are currently protesting against the government, you know, and that is so powerful. Is that anywhere on mainstream media? No one's talking about it. So the changes that are happening, they're not going to be televised. And the media is such a big, powerful force in any country, you know, just thinking about media in general, you know, they can really change the story. They can change the narrative and they can really influence people's minds, you know, and their opinions. And I think a lot of us forget that. I think one of the main reasons, well, I've always been the kind of person that I never believe everything I hear. I'm a skeptic at heart. Like, it's the Scorpio in me too, where I'm just like, interesting. I'm going to need to learn more about that on my own. Because I also see through shit, you know? Like, I know everything is not as it seems, and there's always other layers, always, beneath the surface. So because of that, I don't believe everything I see. So that is one aspect of my personality that always made me look at the media and be like, I don't believe everything I see. But then furthermore, me majoring in marketing and everything that I learned about marketing and about advertisements and about, the power of persuasion and all that shit, right? When I learned all of that, all the classes I took in college about that, about human behavior and how easy it is to influence people to buy anything as long as you tie it to their self-image. You know what I mean? Like, all of that shit was so fascinating, but it opened up my mind and it made me realize, like, we are just little puppets. We are just little puppets. Well, I don't think I'm a puppet. I don't think you're a puppet, but that's what they want us to be, right? Easily manipulated. And I think it's easy to just follow a couple of media outlets that are your favorite, and everything they see and everything they post and everything they say, you take it as fact. But I think that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. And that's why it's so scary thinking about, TikTok being censored or TikTok being taken away. Because I think at this point in time, TikTok is the only app in America that shows us in real time what is happening out in the world and out in our country and our community without it being censored. Everything on Instagram and Facebook is being censored. X, God, I need to hold a funeral actually for Twitter, because Twitter was the shit. And as soon as Elania took over, he fucked it up. He did. He really did. And there's just, I don't even want to be on there anymore. I haven't been on there in months actually. So I think it's fascinating thinking about how easily people are manipulated with everything that they see, but I think going back to all the planets that are changing signs this season, and how the last time when 3 outermost planets, changed into a new sign was during the Great Awakening, I think that goes to show there's another Great Awakening happening this year. And, it being also a 9 year, right? 9 is the year of 9 in numerology is all about completion, right? So I think we are really, really wrapping up a big era and opening our eyes to what it is that's been happening for a while. And I know for a fact, you guys will agree with me, everything has felt so off since 2020. You know what I mean? Like, sure, like the pandemic ended, but nothing's felt the same, like even thinking about now versus like 2019 and, before, it's still so different. If you disagree with me, let me know down below. But everyone I talk to, they talk about how it's just never felt the same before. But I have a feeling 2026 is going to be that new era. And 2025 is leading with that energy. And I think we're all just so desperate for a fresh start. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. But I just want you to know, if you are someone that is, even if you're not from America, but you feel a little bit helpless about what's going on in the world, just remember that nothing stays the same. You know what I mean? Everything is constantly changing. And this year puts an emphasis on that because everything is changing. So no matter what, things are going to be shifting. And I think that's exactly what we all need and deserve going into the future. So if you're sick and tired of your life, if you're sick and tired of your relationship, if you're sick and tired of your job, if you're sick and tired of where you live, if you're sick and tired of your family, if you're sick and tired of your friends, I feel like this is a year where, things are going to shift, whether you want it or not, like whether you want it or not, things are going to be changing for you and for everybody that you know and for the community. So get ready for that because you have literally zero control over it. It is happening whether you want it or not. But I will say it's easier to surrender and just let it happen. And one of my favorite affirmations that I learned in the past few years was, universe, show me how good it can get. Because you're not really saying specifically what, but you're letting the universe know whatever it is that you have in store for me, whatever blessings you have in store for me, I can't wait to see them. I'm so excited to see them. So show me how good it can get. So wake up, tell yourself that. Go to sleep, tell yourself that. Because I promise you, if you're in a situation where you're unhappy or you have been for a while, this year is going to change that, especially the second half of the year. It's all going to shift. By summertime, ooh, things are changing. I was on TikTok and I saw this Scorpio video and people were slandering our name in the comments. But they didn't tell no lies. They low-key didn't tell no lies. It was basically a TikTok about how Scorpios, how we ask people the most, insane questions, but we don't want to say anything back. And like one of the comments was, Scorpio math is learning 10 of your secrets in exchange for one of ours. I don't make the rules. When I read that, I was like, oh my God, I feel so seen. Because why is that actually the math? Like, I genuinely agree with that. Like, that is facts. Like, that is law, But also, can I be real? When we share a secret, it's going to be something so insane that it probably does even out between your little 10 secrets and my big one. I'm going to give you my big one, if I trust you. Like, I'm going to give you the lore. Like, why I am the way I am. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be insane. But it is, I could see why that's not fair. My thing is like, we're like one of those little cards you get, when you come to the store 10 times and they keep clipping it. And when you come to the 11th time, you get a free sandwich. That's like us. That's like being with the Scorpio. We're going to give you one of those cards. And every time you share a secret, we're going to mark it. And when you hit the 11th one, it's time for her to share ours. Like, it's your prize. It's my gift to you. Okay, but the worst part is, I will say, and I know you Scorpios get it, the worst is when you, like, share a secret with someone and, like, you are like, this is big for you, right? Like, this is big for you. Probably usually happens when you're younger, Scorpio, and you share it, but, like, you don't really get the reaction or even just the safe space to like feel like you made the right decision to share this secret. Like, has that ever happened to you guys? And not just for Scorpios, I guess, but where you like share an insane secret or you drop lore and like the people don't know what to do with it and then it's like awkward. Like, that is the worst feeling because it reminds me of why I should have never shared it in the first place. You know what I mean? But it makes it that much better when you are friends with people who get you, who don't judge you, who are genuinely interested in you and why you are the way you are. When you share a secret with them and they just make you feel warm and cozy and happy and just grateful that you're opening up, like, that is the best feeling. Like, I love it. I personally love it. And I feel like anyone who is patient enough for a Scorpio placement, you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, you deserve something big. I don't know what. You deserve something good. Something that's never been done before. That's what you deserve. And to the people that aren't patient, it's fine. Go find an air sign. I saw a post on Instagram and it blew my mind. So I'm going to blow your mind. Posting it here. It says, reading my old journal entries and I know her, but she doesn't know me. Mind motherfucking blown, right? Like, really, really think about that. You're reading your old journal, and obviously it's putting you back in that space of who you were and what you were experiencing when you were writing in that journal. But it's crazy because that version of you doesn't know who you are now. Like, isn't that wild to think about? We don't know what versions we will become. And that goes to show that, like, we don't really know our own potential. We don't know where we're going to end up. We don't know what situations we're going to be in. And I don't even mean bad situations, good situations. Like, one of my favorite quotes is, you haven't even had some of the best days of your life yet. It's so beautiful to think about life like that because you probably haven't. Thinking about your top 10 days, sure, you've probably had maybe one or two of them. There are still so many best days that you haven't had yet. And it's crazy to think about that. But yeah, like, when I saw that post, it was insane because I don't know about you guys. I definitely have some of my old journals. And when I'm reading it, I'm like, ooh, baby, you were going through it. But you know what? You made it out of there. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm actually so sad because on my notes app, I had a couple of entries about certain people and goddamn, I got locked out. And ever since I changed my phone, like I can't get back into them. I think maybe this was like meant to be. I think it was meant to be. And it's crazy because it happened, yeah, during like around the time where like Pluto moved into Aquarius. So it kind of makes sense that like it was like technology ending, you're not getting access to it, death, bye, you know? So it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I feel like it's just crazy how it puts you back in that space. When you're reading your old journal entries, you really are getting this, you know, in-depth view of, oh my God, this was my biggest problem at the time. This was what I was feeling at the time. This is who I was at the time. I'm not that anymore. Like I feel so different than who I was at that time, hopefully. If you're the same, I would almost guarantee you that you're probably not happy. You know what I mean? Because you need to change in order to feel happy. And if you're stuck being the same version of yourself for years, I don't think that's healthy. No, I mean, I know that's not healthy. But it's just crazy thinking about, so this is me now, right? Sara 2025. Like, I wonder, like, who Sara's going to be in 2035, you know? If I'm alive, you know? If the world didn't end. I do wonder. It's crazy to think about. Like, your potential is endless. I want everyone to understand your potential is limitless. Do not ever have a cap on what you think you can achieve in life, whether it comes to who you're meant to be with, whether it comes to where you can live, what kind of job you can have, what kind of friend group you can have. It's limitless, you guys, you know? And that's probably the hardest thing to tell yourself and to remind yourself and to teach yourself is realizing your worth and realizing your potential and not having a cap on what you think you can achieve or what it is that you deserve. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people think of romanticizing as this thing where like, you know, it's just in your head. But no, you can really, really, really imagine these things and they can really, really, really become true. Like that is my favorite part of Pisces energy actually, is their delusions lead them to manifestation. You know what I mean? You really have to be so delusional and believe in your dreams and in your goals and in your manifestation so it becomes true. You know, you can't just like want something and be like, I want to manifest it. But internally you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get it. Do I even deserve it? Is that too big of an ask? Like, why are you even trying to manifest that if you have this much negativity tied to it? The first step is you going inward and telling yourself that you deserve these things and that it is available to you. You know, that is the whole journey with the abundance mentality, right? Because when you're thinking about anything with the scarcity mindset, you're telling yourself, well, if everyone else has it, there probably isn't enough for me, or what makes me so special for me to deserve something like that. It's honestly so sad, and I speak from my younger self too, because I was like this, you know? I really had to completely shift my mindset, and it took years, and it took spiritual awakenings, and it's still a work in progress. But if you think about it, it's actually so sad that we tell ourselves that we don't deserve certain things, or that, you know, it's just not meant for us in this life, and that other people are lucky enough to have it, and I'm just never gonna have it. Like, that is so sad that we tell that story to ourselves. Like, would you tell that to someone that you love? Like, would you tell that to your best friend? Would you tell that to your sister, to your brother? Like, yeah, you're probably never going to get that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, that is so fucked up. So why the hell would you believe that about yourself and about your life? You just can't think like that. And there's going to be days where you do. There's going to be days where you're just so sad and you're just so fed up and you're just so emotional and you're impatient and you're just like, God, like, when is it going to happen for me? When am I going to find this big love? You know what I mean? Or when am I going to get my dream job? You know, like, you're going to have moments like that, but it's about coming out of it. You know, it's about bouncing back. I think a lot of people think of success and of happiness as something that you just have and you just get. But no, it's about how fast you can get back up, how fast you can try again. Because no matter what, there's just going to be days where you want to give up. And there's going to be days where you're so emotional and you feel so low. And trust me, I am there. I've been there. I'm still going to be there. There's going to be days that I'm still going to deal with that, as we all are. But it's about getting out of it the next day. not letting those dark, negative thoughts consume you, you know? And that is why you actively need to be doing something. When you are trying to manifest, you need to be putting shit into action. You know what I mean? You need to be doing something because your energy needs to be flowing. Your energy can't be stagnant, but you're trying to create these big things. You want your energy to be expanding, to be expansive. That's the way that you will get the best reaction from the universe, you know, because you're putting yourself out there and the universe is noticing it. And the universe is always, I believe, going to reward courage. If you're courageous, you're always going to live a good life. I personally believe that because I think the universe looks at courage and tells you that you are capable of getting the things that you want. You know what I mean? When you are courageous, you're showing your strength, right? Courage isn't a lack of fears. It's acting, you know, in spite of those. You know what I mean? Even if you have fears, even if you're scared, you're still doing it. That's courage. So I think when you are courageous, the universe sees that as someone that can have all the things that they're asking for. That's why I think the fire signs are really good at manifesting. I personally think you guys are the best at manifesting because you guys are courageous and the energy is there. Even just thinking about Leo, for example, Leo is the most courageous sign, right? One of the most courageous signs. And they're also very, very creative. And they're also putting themselves out there. So all of those qualities mixed together create someone that is really, really good at manifesting everything that they desire because they're confident and they're leading life with confidence and they're creative and they're showing the world how they're creative and they're putting themselves out there, you know, for people to see. They're not ashamed of who they are. They are very, very authentic. And I talked about this in the last episode. One of my favorite segments I ever did was about authenticity and how looking at the frequency scale of all the different emotions and feelings that you can have, authenticity is at the very, very top, right? And I think Leos are some of the most authentic people. Like they're ruled by the sun. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. This is how I'm shining. Like, I am going to illuminate the world. I am going to show you what I'm made of. I'm not hiding any part of me. So when you're doing that, I think it makes you a really, really good manifester. And we already know why Sagittarius is so good at manifesting. They are the definition of lucky girl syndrome, right? Because they're ruled by Jupiter and because their bounce back game is strong, right? So when your bounce back game is strong, you let it slide off your shoulders. If something doesn't work out, you truly tell yourself, ooh, something better is coming along and I can't wait for that. You know what I mean? Like Sagittarius is also out and about doing their thing. So things are going to be flowing, you know, to them. They're not really sitting there sad about something that doesn't work out because they already have other options and their options got options and their options got options. You know, like that is the best part of Sagittarius energy is the fact that they are mutable fire. So they can really spark that flame wherever they're at, you know? The grass is greener where they're at because that's where they're watering it, right? That's how it is with Sagittarius. And then obviously Aries, cardinal fire, they have that passion. They have that drive. When you have that drive, when you're working towards something, because that is Aries at their highest vibration, they're working towards something. When Aries is doing that, that is how they'll be able to manifest the easiest because they're such hard workers and they pride themselves in the work that they do and how they produce that work, right? So when they're doing that, it's really easy for them to manifest because they're moving, you know, and they're leading. They're taking control of their life. I think you're never going to be able to manifest anything if you're a victim. You're not. If you're victimizing yourself in any way, you are not energetically at a place where you can manifest something because you are not at a place where you feel like you have control over your life. And I don't mean control as in you can control everything in your life. I mean that you are in the driving seat of your life, right? When you feel like you can change things in your life, that is when the universe empowers you to be able to do so, right? And I think Aries understands that. And Aries, even though they can be controlling, and I get it, I'm a Scorpio, but they are very much headstrong and they know what it is that they want and they're willing to work towards that and to be the best person to do that, you know? They don't want to be, they're irreplaceable. They know that about themselves And when you are leading life with that energy, I think it's really, really easy to manifest. I read a quote the other day that was actually talking about courage, and it said, I'm no longer asking for signs, but for the courage to act on what I already know. And I thought that was really cool and powerful because I think a lot of us ask for signs, right? And I actually think a lot of us do get those signs, but we just tell ourselves, no, like that's not it. Because it's really easy to just keep doing what you're doing, right? So when you ask for signs, you're essentially telling the universe, if you give me a sign, I'm going to change and I'm going to do that thing, or I'm going to let go of this. And the universe will literally be shouting at you, giving you signs, but suddenly you can't read. You know what I mean? Because of that, now you're not acting on changing your life, you know? It's also like that one quote that's like, anything that you're not changing, you're choosing, which is the truth. If you want to change something, then change it. If you hate something, okay, change it. If you're not changing it, you're choosing it. You know, you always have to remember that you have the power to change. That you have the power to change your situation, your circumstances, and sometimes it's harder than the other. And I am the first person, listen, I am an immigrant. You know what I mean? My family are immigrants. So I understand that some of us, you know, we didn't get the head start that other people got. I fully understand that. But I also feel like it would give a lot of people, you know, it would give people a lot of pleasure knowing that we gave up, you know? If you were born into a circumstance or if bad things happen to you, don't allow that to be the reason that you now tell yourself, I'm not going to try. Because that would give your power away, and that would make a lot of the people that want to see you fail very, very happy. So yes, I empathize with you. If you also were in a situation where you feel like, you know what, well, I didn't have a silver spoon. You know what I mean? I didn't have generational wealth, blah, 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 right? Like I went through a really shitty relationship where they literally broke every part of me. I totally get that, and I empathize with that. But what I'm saying is, don't let those situations stop you from living a big life after that. You know what I mean? Those situations cannot define your life after the fact. Yes, they happened to you, and yes, they had a purpose in your life, and they made you strong, and they gave you an edge, and they probably made you funny. Because listen, trauma makes us funny. People that haven't gone through shit, they're not funny. They're not. They're literally the most boring, square people ever. Actually, and I want nothing to do with them. Actually, it comes back to, if I'm trauma dumping on you as a Scorpio, you better have some trauma back. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'm going to feel stupid. Well, I'm not going to do it because I'm reading you to see if there's depth there. But that's the thing. That's the thing, you know? So in general, use your trauma to be funny because that's how you become funny. And also remember that if you have gone through shit, that doesn't mean that suddenly that's it. Because I've gone through that, I'm not going to have a good life. And because I've gone through that, now I'm going to use that as an excuse as to why I don't try anymore and why my life is so hard. Listen, stop. Stop being a victim. Stop being a victim to your past situations. You have the power within you to create the life that you want. But it has to start here. It has to start in your mind, and you have to tell yourself that you deserve it, and you have to tell yourself that nobody can take it from you. And at the end of the day, if you want something, if you can't stop thinking about something, it means that your future self has it. I fully believe that, and I fully see people talking about it, and I think it's the truth. If not a day goes by where you're having this dream or you want something, it means it's meant for you, you know? So don't give up on it, because guess what? That feeling of you wanting that thing, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. You're always going to have it in your mind, whether you know, go a different direction in life or whatever. You're always going to have that feeling of, I still want this thing. Why didn't I do that thing? And the older you get, the more it's going to feel out of reach, and the more you're going to feel like it's not attainable. But I honestly don't believe that either. I think you are capable of having your dream life or achieving a goal even in your 50s, 60s, 70s. You know what I mean? But I do think starting early is good, because why not get that thing going? Why not get the ball rolling? Why not get that dream early on? You deserve to be happy. I don't know if anyone told you this today, but you deserve to be happy. No matter who you are, you deserve to be happy. So don't let your mind lie to you and tell you that, no, I don't deserve it. No, it's not going to happen for me. No, it's just not possible. Tell your stupid mind to shut the fuck up, respectfully. Tell your mind to shut the fuck up and tell your mind that you're sick of its negativity. Actually. And as cheesy as it sounds, every time you have a negative thought, keep replacing it with a positive one. Something as easy as everything is working out in my favor. If you're having this thought where you're like, oh, what if I'm not going to get it? What if this doesn't happen? Is that too big of a goal? Stop it right away. Even if you're having it midway, be like, stop it. Like, zap it from your brain and keep repeating, everything is working out in my favor. Everything is working out in my favor. Everything is working out in my favor. Or whatever mantra you love. Just keep saying it. Because you guys, our minds, all they do is tell us a story. And when you're meditating, what you're trying to do is stop your mind from telling a story. And that's the whole point of meditation, is when you practice meditation, you'll be able to quiet your mind, you know? But even though I meditate all the time, I still have Gemini moon, air moon. I'll like have some peace while I'm meditating, and then another story. I'll start thinking about something that happened the other day. And then I get deeper into that thought. And then midway, I'm like, what am I doing? Quiet my mind, right? So our mind is always moving, and our mind is always telling us a story. And it's really easy to get caught up in it. It's really easy to get caught up in the negativity and the downward spiral and of the whys it can't happen, of why life is difficult. You know, your perception of life is so important when it comes to manifesting. If you perceive life as this hard thing, if you perceive this world as this hard place where getting anything you want is difficult, that's exactly what your reality will be, you know? So just stop your mind when it's telling you that story, because your mind, it just moves so fast and it wants to just tell you a story all the time. So why not just make it a good story? And if it's a bad story, stop that story midway. You can literally stop that story midway and be like, zap, no, I see what you're doing, and I know you just love to tell these fucking horrible stories. I'm going to stop you right there because everything's working out in my favor. And let's think about my perfect life. And let's think about what my perfect day would look like if I got my perfect life. You know what I mean? Just think about it like that. Anytime you're having a negative thought or you're scared of something bad happening, imagine the perfect day. The perfect day in your perfect home where you have your dream job with your dream partner or family or alone or whatever. Just think about that. Literally just replay it in your mind like a movie. Why not? Learn something from Pisces. Be in that la la land. Create that delusion. Create that illusion. Create that dream. Because I promise you that dream can become your reality. You just have to believe that you deserve it, and then it'll come true. It will come true. You just have to believe it. And you're the first person that has to believe it before it can become that. And if you don't want to share it with anyone, don't. You don't have to share your dreams with anyone. Actually, probably it's best that you don't. Because if people aren't in the headspace where they're creating their dream life, they're going to be judgy and they're going to be closed-minded, and, you know, their negative energy is going to attach to you, and you don't want that. You don't. All right, you guys, that is the end of this episode. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed all of these topics. Don't forget to comment about any of the topics I touched on in the comment section. Even if you're, listening on Apple, Spotify, go to YouTube and comment about any of the topics I touched on. I love you guys so, so much. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you guys next week.